Before we get today's show started, let me ask you a simple question. Do you want the best 49ers coverage here on YouTube? Well, you came to the right place. It's the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I am your host, Chase Sr. And here on the channel, we are nearing a milestone. Almost 50,000 subscribers, a little less than 3,000 away. So if you want free daily videos, weekly live shows, and watch parties during game days, hit that red subscribe button down below. Join the faithful family here at Chat Sports, and let's get today's show started. What's up, Niner Gang? You're watching the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I am your host, Chase Senior. Coming up on today's show, we're going to take a look at the NFC playoff picture, take a look at the 49ers' remaining schedule, how they can possibly win the NFC West, and claim a spot in the wild card if it does come down to that. The 49ers are one of the hottest teams in the National Football League right now. Having won 5 of 6, they look to make it 6 of 7 on Thursday Night Football against the Tennessee Titans on the road. You take a look at the NFC playoff picture right now. There have been some changes after NFL Week 15 after some big upsets last week. The Green Bay Packers remain at number 1 with a record of 11-3. The Dallas Cowboys have jumped the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and gone into that 2 seed at 10-4. The Arizona Cardinals, folks, are free-falling right now. Kyler Murray's body language is terrible, and they are in danger of losing their number 1 seed in the NFC West as they drop 2 consecutive games after a hapless loss to the Detroit Lions last week. They're at 10-4. So too are the surging Los Angeles Rams, who have won 3 straight. And there you see the San Francisco 49ers, 8-6, playing a great brand of football over the last 2 months. They have a 1-game lead in the win column over the Minnesota Vikings. But if you remember, San Francisco took down Minnesota back a couple weeks ago, so they do own the tiebreaker. I was really impressed with what the 49ers were able to do in that all-around dominant win against the Atlanta Falcons. They were able to overcome some of those early mistakes, and they overwhelmed Atlanta offensively with some of those long clock-eating drives. They were also really the more physical team, and defensively, the Falcons had so many opportunities on goal-to-go situations, and they couldn't come through with any big plays because the Niners defense able to put down the clamps for that 31-13 win. It's going to be a tough matchup. Short week, cross-country travel, Thursday Night Football on the road against the Tennessee Titans. But when I kind of look at this game, I think San Francisco should be victorious. And as I talked about, the Niners are a team right now because Kyle Shanahan's in his play-calling bag. They're clicking on both sides of the ball that no team in the NFC wants to play because their playoff style and their style right now certainly translates to postseason play. So I ask you this. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's 49ers Report video. So if you get hit with that YouTube ad break, scroll on down and get your votes in. With the Niners surging right now and the Cardinals free-falling, do you think San Francisco can win the NFC West? Type W for win, type N for no. Get those votes in the comment section right now. We're going to take a look at this division team by team, and we talk about those Arizona Cardinals really struggling right now after just an awful loss to the Detroit Lions in which they played terrible. I'm talking they were gashed offensively, they were really beat up defensively, and their schedule does not get any easier. This week, they host the Indianapolis Colts, a Colts team that is one of the hottest teams in the NFL aside from the 49ers. Jonathan Taylor in the MVP race right now. Defensively, Darius Leonard in the running for NFL Defensive Player of the Year. They lead the league in turnovers. The Colts are not a team that you want to go up against, especially when you're struggling. That's a big problem for the Arizona Cardinals. Coming up later, we'll take a look at their upcoming schedule. It doesn't get any easier after the Colts either. As for the Los Angeles Rams, Tuesday Night Football against the Seattle Seahawks, they were basically able to put the dagger in Seattle. Now, the Seahawks are going to finish below 500 for the first time in Russell Wilson's career, which is really crazy because he has had so much success for so long. So the Rams beat the Seahawks in an ugly game, but a win is a win to push their record to 10-4, just like the Arizona Cardinals. But this week, it's a good litmus test. for the Rams as well as the Minnesota Vikings. One of the more intriguing matchups in NFL Week 16. And really, since the Rams got dump trucked by San Francisco at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, they've gone on a tear. They've gotten it together offensively. OBJ playing well. Cooper Kupp continues to break records. And since that loss, they have turned around and won 3 straight games after losing 3 straight games. So a 3-game winning streak. Rams are playing good football. I understand that I don't trust Matthew Stafford as a quarterback when it comes to some of these big games, but with Sean McVay, you have to put the trust in those guys that they can cause some havoc in the NFC playoff picture the last 3 weeks of the regular season. You take a look at their last 6 games. They went on that 3-game losing streak. So lost to the Titans, they got crushed by the Niners, then they go on the road, and even though they lost by 8, that score not indicative of how dominant Green Bay was. Then they go on this 3-game tear to kind of salvage their season to a certain degree and turn things around after that hot start. They beat the Jaguars, goodbye Urban Meyer, 37-7. They beat the Cardinals 30-23, which was a really big win and an impressive one considering how they played on both sides of the pill. And then they beat the Seahawks and basically end the Seahawks playoff hopes with a 20-10 victory. Speaking of those Seattle Seahawks, bad team this year, and I think this could be the end of Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll in the Pacific Northwest. Fall to the Rams 20-10. They have a winnable game in Week 16 against an awful Chicago Bears team. And while they're 5-9, they are not technically out of the NFC Wildcard race. They are 13th right now. So they're going to have a bunch of things go in their direction for them to have any hopes of sniffing the playoffs. And I don't think they're going to get in because this is just an awful football team this year that doesn't resemble some of the prime years of that Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson era. And that relationship between Carroll and Wilson seems to be very contentious right now. And when defense is Pete Carroll's strong suit, and they've been just a down defensive team, one of the worst in the NFL over the last couple of years, it does not spell positive movement for the Seahawks moving into the future direction. Make sure you subscribe to the 49ers Report by Chat Sports because we're giving you free daily videos, and whether we're covering the latest 49ers news, 49ers rumors, taking a look at the NFC playoff picture, we have you covered. And when breaking news happens, we get out a video faster than everybody else. Let's get to 50,000 subscribers before the end of the season. As for the 49ers' remaining schedule, Thursday night football game, as I mentioned, against the Tennessee Titans. A really easy cupcake game against the Houston Texans at home on the 2nd of January to kick off 2022. That cannot be a trap game. And I think the 49ers have an opportunity, and it's realistic, to win out here to push their record to 11-6 on the year, the first year that we have this new 17-game format, which would really greatly improve their playoff standing. And if they do finish 11-6, we're talking about a Niners team that can somehow come back to claim the NFC West division. Why is that? Because the Rams' remaining schedule is pretty damn difficult. It would not surprise me one bit if Minnesota is able to overtake the Rams this coming weekend on the 26th. It's a big game for Minnesota because they have so much to play for. And you never know which Kirk Cousins you're going to get. If it's good Kirk Cousins, he could carve this Rams team up. You also never know what you're going to get from Matthew Stafford in a big game. Then after that, you go on the road again against the Baltimore Ravens. Maybe Baltimore has Lamar Jackson back. They too are going to be fighting for their playoff lives in both the AFC Wildcard and the AFC North, And then we know that Kyle Shanahan has absolutely owned Sean McVay. Here on the channel, I deem Kyle Shanahan the daddy of Sean McVay. He's won 5 of the last 6 and 3 in a row. San Francisco has had the Rams number, and I think they can win that game in Week 18. What it's going to come down to, do the Rams have something to play for? If not, they could sit their starters, which could then open up the doors for an easy Niners win to close out the regular season. If you want to bet on any of these games, you can do so thanks to our sportsbook partner, BetUS. They have been offering all year a 125% deposit bonus. And if you go to chatsports.com/49bet, enter the promo code Niners125, that deal does apply. And for first-time signups, if you put $100 into your account, you automatically get $125 back. That's $225 to wager with, and if you do that, we will send you a free 49ers jersey. Chatsports.com/49bet. What? Yeah, we ain't lying. Niners 125. Now that I have your attention, sign up. Deposit at least $100. You get that 125% deposit back. Then make a bet of any money significance. Once you do all of that, email us, jersey@chatsports.com, letting us know that you followed all those steps, and we'll get you hooked up with the free 49ers jersey in your closet. Right now, multiple sizes, multiple colors available for Jimmy Garoppolo, who from weeks 8 to 15 has played as the most efficient quarterback in the NFL. It's not an opinion. The stats back that up. Or George Kittle, who really has been on a tear for the last several weeks as the #1 tight end in the National Football League. So one more time, if you have to screenshot this to get your hands on a free jersey, do it right now. BetUS, the best sportsbook out there right now. Cardinals' remaining schedule. Not easy, as I mentioned. I could see them winning some of these games. I could see them losing all of them. Colts are a great squad. I think the Colts win this game because the Cardinals just are struggling right now, and Kyler Murray doesn't look the same, and his body language is dog shit. The 2nd of January, on the road against the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas could have a lot to play for. They could be vying for that #1 spot in the NFC. They could even be going for that #2 spot. A lot to play for if you're Dallas, and we know Seattle, with Russell Wilson at the helm, they are always a sneaky good team that could pull off the upset alert. Seahawks remaining schedule. A couple of winnable games, but who cares about the Sea Chickens at this point? This team, they ain't good. They ain't making the playoffs. I'm saying it here right now. There is way too much that has to shake out in their favor for them to get into the big dance, although they can probably win 2 or 3 of these games. Bears, Lions, Cardinals, the last 3 games on the Seahawks' remaining schedule. As for the teams who the Niners have to worry about, on the bubble, outside looking in for those final 3 wildcard spots. Eagles, Saints, Washington, Falcons. Couple of big notes here. Let's throw the Vikings into the mix, even though they occupy that 7th and final spot in the NFC playoff picture. Niners have the tiebreaker over Minnesota. They have the tiebreaker over the Philadelphia Eagles. That bodes very well for San Francisco's playoff chances if they happen to slip up. I think they're playing way too good of a brand of football right now to slip up as we take one more look at the NFC playoff picture. It's realistic that the Niners can catch the Rams, especially with them playing each other the final week. It is realistic that the Cardinals continue to fall. I think the top 3 spots are pretty firm. Green Bay, Dallas is going to win the NFC East, and I do think the Bucs, even though the Saints have a shot because they swept the season series, are going to win the NFC South. So Niners still with an opportunity to win the NFC West. At the end of the day, still have a great opportunity if they don't win the division to finish as a wild card squad. Final thoughts before we get out of here. I have one more question for you as well. Nobody wants to play San Francisco with how they've been playing 5 of the last 6 weeks. They've been playing very good football over the last 2 months. And their style of play translates to the playoffs. They have a physical offense. They have a physical defense. They can dominate on both lines of the scrimmage. They can run the football, which translates to the postseason play as well. And their physical brand of football is something that other teams do not want to go up against. And it is not crazy to say that in the first round of the playoffs, in the wild card round, San Francisco could upend one of the best teams in the NFC, whether that be the Packers, the Cowboys, the Bucs, the Cardinals, or the Rams. That's how much I'm believing in the movement and the momentum of the 49ers right now. So lastly, do you believe like I believe? Say it with your chest, your confidence level. The 49ers make the playoffs this year. Scale it for me from 1 to 10. If you're typing a 1, I don't know, get out of here. 10, let's ride that train. Thanks for watching today's show. And man, can't wait to continue to talk Niners football here on the channel.